and Reformists, Mr. Henkel. President, Prime Minister, you spoke about the future of Europe. And I think that it was appropriate that you began your speech with your thoughts on Brexit. Vice President Timmermans spoke earlier in this discussion and expressed his thanks to the British soldiers who contributed to liberating his country from the Nazis. My father was in the war in 1943. Our house was bombed by the British. And I have to say that from my point of view, I'm glad that we lost the battle for England.
Of Britain. But I tell you, I'm totally destroyed if we lose the battle for Britain. You, Mr. Prime Minister, earlier said, and I think rightfully so, that Brexit is a lose-lose situation for both, not only for Britain, but also for the European Union. And I believe it is one economically, politically, and morally. Economically, because Brexit is equal to the equivalent of 19 other countries leaving the European Union and the common market at the same time. And politically, because Britain has always been the voice of reason, of subsidiarity, of competitiveness, and of decentralization. And morally, because rightfully many people in this Parliament have earlier said that Brexit makes everybody poorer. So I think it is actually an immoral proposition. So in the earlier discussions, we heard everybody here seemed to regret Brexit, except these people here to my left. But not a single person has offered something to stop it. And I think it's time to do that. More than 140 members of this Parliament earlier wrote a letter addressed to the people of Britain, asking them to come up with a second vote. I support that. But they should have written the letter to themselves. Because let's not forget, contrary to what Mr. Verhofstadt said, it's not only a catfight within the Conservative Party. There was a reason for the British to start thinking about Europe. In the Lisbon Treaty, we talked about subsidiarity and what was done, more and more centralization. In the Lisbon Treaty, we talked about competition and what was done, the opposite, harmonization. In the Lisbon Treaty, we talk about self-responsibility of a country for its debts. And what are we doing? We are trying to socialize it. So I think there are good reasons for this Parliament, for the Commission and the Council, to start doing something else. I agree with everybody who said that it is unlikely we are coming up with a new deal which makes Theresa May getting a support by the Parliament. So let's change the strategy. Let's offer Britain a deal which enables Britain to stay in the European Union. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the call of the day, and not moaning and blaming Britain. I think it is also up to us to agree that we have a responsibility for Brexit. So let's offer a new deal to Britain for them to stay in the European Union, and that can only be a special temporary deal on immigration. So that's what I'm saying. Let's, instead of always blaming Britain, let's also recognize that Europe and Brussels is part of the problem, and it should become part of the solution. Let's fight a battle for Britain. Thank you.